In this video, we're going to be taking a long range look here. We're going to be taking a look at these upcoming storms, upcoming cold blasts. We're going to be taking a look at all the things that are upcoming in the near future, but we're going to be taking that a step further and working our way through the end of November into early December and even towards Christmas in December, and just take a look at that temperature pattern, how it looks to go throughout the rest of November and December. So let's just take a look at these storms that we have upcoming now. We have first off this storm, this big one ongoing here for Minnesota, Iowa, and surrounding states, bringing snowfall to states like Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas here. And then a lot of storminess here on the eastern end for states like Kansas, Nebraska, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and even Michigan. We also have our tropical system down here in Florida that we're going to track. It's going to make a move kind of like this, and it's going to bring a ton of storminess here for most of the eastern United States. So we're going to be on the watch out for that as time moves on. This is by Friday morning time frame. Tomorrow, from the time I'm making this video, we can see a cold front extending down. We see our tropical system moving up, and all of this looks to just combine into one big storm in the eastern United States. So let's keep going with this towards later on Friday. It's going to be Friday at about 8 p.m. And look at that. We have just a lot of storminess in general for the Gulf states through the southeast into especially the mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, and northeast there, where there's pretty persistent storminess happening. The actual low pressure center is going to be somewhere over southern West Virginia there by this point. And this is going to bring a lot of rainfall, like I said, and windiness for a lot of these states. Now, by the time we're reaching early, maybe 5 a.m. on Saturday the 12th here, morning, we see northern Pennsylvania is where that low is located. We have another low developing down here for the south central United States, bringing snowfall potentially to Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana. Very, very interesting. And throughout the day on Saturday, the 12th there, we see potential snowfall here for Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio, looking a little bit wintry here for a lot of these states. Now, for the Northeast, we have our low. This was our tropical system, still bringing storminess for these regions, and we could tell there's a trough heading into the eastern United States. Still warm air racing up the coast by Saturday morning, but this is really going to change quickly. Even by later on Saturday, we can see that this cold front kind of moves through, and we see the cold air reaching the coast here by about overnight Saturday into Sunday. And Sunday will certainly be fairly cold here. Sunday evening here, we can see most of this cold air pouring into these regions. We're seeing lake effect snowfall. We're seeing snowfall showers throughout some of these states, and it's really going to look a lot more wintry than things have looked recently. Now, really, we begin to get some snowfall again for the south central United States potentially as another system tries to move around the trough. So we'll watch this take place here, and it really builds in, brings some snowfall showers to the northeast, but it's going to be a more minor event. It's this one that looks very interesting, and timing and location isn't a huge thing, but we do see some interesting things on this model run that I do want to go over because things are going to jump off the screen at you a little bit. We do see snowfall for Montana and Idaho by this point potentially as well. Watch as this one progresses. We see the trough really trying to dive in, and it tilts with the storm, but we get basically all I can kind of describe this as is a major East Coast snowstorm according to this model. Now, take it with a grain of salt. This would be next Friday if this model was completely correct, but timing isn't the most important, and location is not the most important, but the crucial thing to take away here is that we have this big air mass of cold air, and you probably notice we're seeing consistent storms move with that jet stream. So it looks like a stormy cold pattern for the east, and that is something that these models can get very correct in the long range. And look at 983 millibar low pressure center bringing heavy snowfall to the eastern United States. Again, take it with a grain of salt, but that is interesting to see regardless. We get another storm moving around the cold air mass here for the mid-Atlantic by Monday the 21st. More storminess here by Wednesday. So again, storm after storm moving off the coast. We get kind of some more storminess here by Friday the 25th of November. So it's just continuous. It really does not stop, and you can probably notice that we still have a trough in the east here by the 26th, the end of the model run here. So no sign of a pattern change coming. Cold in the east, warm in the west. It's going to stick around a while once it moves in just a couple days. Now, total precipitation through the next 15 days looks like this. Really not a whole lot out west. We do have, I would say, plenty but just not as much as we see here in the eastern United States. As you can literally tell, that's the flow of a lot of this precipitation. It's just going to move around that trough with the jet stream. If you're anywhere in the whites, we're expecting practically no precipitation. Your grays, 1/10 of an inch or less. Your greens, 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Your blues, 1/2 an inch to an inch. Your yellows, 1 inch to 2 inches. Your reds, 2 to 5 inches. And then your browns, 5 to 10 inches of precipitation. We see some of that for the deeper south there. Now, total snowfall, no surprise here. We do see some for the eastern United States. Again, take it with a grain of salt, but this model is calling for a dusting, if anything, in the grays, 2 to 6 inches there in the blues. Purples, 6 to 10. Pinks, 10 to 20. And then your pastel blues there, 20 to 30 inches of snowfall. We see a lot of that happening in the Rockies and the north central United States. When it turns kind of purplish there in the pastels, that's when we're seeing 30 to 48 inches plus. We see that up in Canada quite a bit. Now, for the temperature pattern, we'll work our way through this. We see right now we're in a warmer pattern in the east, colder pattern out west clearly, but this is going to change pretty quickly. As we can see with this cold front, this is by Saturday the 12th. We see the warm air racing up the coast like I mentioned, but this cold air is generally racing eastward here, and we are going to see it fully engulf the eastern United States. By about Sunday into Monday, we will see a full-blown Arctic pattern here in the east as that first Arctic blast comes through. And this model used to show a warm pattern follow it, but now it's just sticking around with the cold here. And things get even colder actually as time moves on for the entire nation. It looks like a cold November is on the way, honestly. Here's another Arctic blast, and the greens were about 10 to 15 degrees below normal. But those blues within the green that we see widespread throughout the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, that's going to be 15 to 25 degrees below normal. So certainly a far departure from what's typical right around Thanksgiving. Things are looking very cool, and they do warm up to near neutral temperatures for a lot of these areas, right around the 25th time frame. But look, we turn around and we cool back down, and things are warming up out west. So if you ask me, it looks like this model is trending at a positive PNA out here. So this is a blocking pattern that forces the cold air to move around that warm air mass, and it doesn't look to let up anytime soon. Now, you're probably watching this video for the long-range outlook, so let's just watch it. Here is from the 10th through the 15th, practically. We can see a little bit warmer here along the eastern seaboard, more neutral, colder out west, but even as we just move, we'll move it for the 15th through the 20th, and the Climate Prediction Center has really shown this as well, but cold from coast to coast, just very, very cold. Now, from the 20th to the 25th, we see things kind of lift off, but still, I mean, for the most part, cold from coast to coast, a little bit more neutral the further south you go here, but in general, cold from coast to coast there. 25th through the 30th, this model in particular shows things warming here for the west, so just like the GFS model is showing, and more cold air allowing itself to move into the eastern United States. Let's move this towards the 30th through the 5th, and look, again, that positive PNA really building in. We see it really building in here, and still the cold train is moving into the eastern United States, 30th to the 5th of December. 5th of December to the 10th of December. The warm looks to get warmer every 5-day period we take a look at. That positive PNA is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. All that a positive PNA means is warmer temperatures for Western North America, by the way. So that's why I'm saying that anytime we see the warmth out here. And warm and cold air masses like this work like water and oil, so they move around each other. So this is crucial because when the warm air is sitting here along the west, that means the cold air has to move around it like water and oil into the eastern United States. And that's just a huge pattern. The 10th through the 15th doesn't look quite as cold in the east, but certainly it's very, very warm out west here. So we see a stronger positive PNA even on this frame with some colder air moving in. I mean, imagine what the average temperatures are by the 10th to 15th of December. Surely 5 to 10 degrees colder than it is now. This is going to be very, very cold if this was to take place. This is long range, so take it with a grain of salt, but this would be very cold even compared to, you know, I would say 10 degrees below normal in mid-December is much colder than 20 degrees below normal is in this time of year. So it is a pretty big departure still. And then we see things cool down further. This is for the 15th through the 20th. Actually, that's what we were just taking a look at. Let's move this on. 20th to the 25th, it's a lot of the same. So this would be your Christmas time frame. I'm sure a lot of people would be happy with this. And that's the end of the model run. So we get to Christmas here, but The interesting thing to note is that this model and the GFS model, neither of them show this cold pattern in the east coming to an end at any point in the near future at all. So this might be a very, very long pattern that we're stuck in here with cold in the east and warmer than what's typical out west, positive PNA pattern. Only time we'll truly be able to tell what's actually going to happen, but this is certainly a good sign for cold and snow lovers, looking like a cold and snowy December. So I hope you guys enjoyed this long range look. Be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. We'll be going over this upcoming pattern through the year and hopefully years to come. So be sure to subscribe. You can even hit that bell icon for those notifications when we do upload. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it and leave a comment down below with your thoughts. I will see you guys in the next video.